There is no way to adequately thank you, but I can tell you it's been an inspirational couple of days here. And when you saw the awards given earlier, you understand why. When I was young, C.P. Snow made his famous statement that he did not think we could ever close the gap between science and the humanities. And I was thinking, I sure wish he had been with me the last 2 days. Several years ago, Paul and I were invited back to India to speak at the 30th anniversary of smallpox eradication. And we talked about some of the lessons that we had learned, some that we mentioned yesterday. Number one lesson, this is not a fatalistic world. It's a cause and effect world. Things can be changed. Number two, the reason for hope. Smallpox eradication is one of the things that gives great hope that we can do even more. But third, we talked about how in smallpox eradication, we were always looking for problem solvers, something this school knows about. Well, on our return, we changed planes in Paris. And as we were in the security line for the plane back to the United States, I noticed that there was some commotion ahead of us, and then it finally became clear. There was a man who simply could not understand France not allowing a bottle of French wine through security. He said this is absolutely wrong, but he was losing the argument. And so he finally opened that bottle, he drained the contents, he put the bottle in a garbage can, he wiped his lips, and he took that French wine right through security. I thought at the time, this is a problem solver. But this week, I saw a different lesson in that. I saw myself having slipped through the Georgia Tech security check in a fraudulent way. I suppose I was fine until I actually looked up the word and found that the definition of courage was action in spite of fear. And I thought to myself, we see daily examples in our military, with our firemen, our policemen, who have to be facing situations with fear, and they show courage. But we see it every day with parents who are afraid they're going to lose their houses, who have children in school, who are working at 2 jobs, and they must wake up in the morning with fear, and they face the day with courage. Daily acts by millions of people that put me to shame. And it struck me that the most courageous thing I have done is to actually come here today. Yet the amazing thing is that I can feel conflicted with the imposter syndrome and at the same time feel very grateful to you, and I say thank you. Bill Todd yesterday mentioned Bill Watson, one of the great managers at CDC, and I confided in Bill one day as I was about to receive an award how uncomfortable I was. I said this was work done by lots of other people, and I haven't actually been involved with it, and Bill said relax. He said, one of these days, one of those people will make a big mistake, and you will be blamed for it, and it will all even out. But it didn't, and it hasn't. Some of you will remember Senator Dale Bumpers on the floor of the Senate telling the story of a preacher who was preaching about our search for perfection. And he asked the rhetorical question, is there anyone in the audience who is perfect? And was surprised when a man stood up. He thought he had misunderstood, and he said, are you telling us you're perfect? And the man said, no, I stand on behalf of my wife's first husband. And so, once again, I stand on behalf of lots of other people and thank you. But I use the occasion also to encourage everyone to believe that the health situation in the world is both dire and correctable. It takes hope and action and absolute tenacity. But if faith without works is dead, so is hope without action. And the short arc of history has seen smallpox eradicated, yes, but it's seen so many other things. I told students yesterday that 3 decades ago, the measles virus was the single most lethal agent in the world, killing over 3 million children a year. And now we're in a position where 3 million couples, 6 million people, tonight will be able to have dinner with a child they did not lose because of measles. And it's not just smallpox and measles. The short history includes countless people served by the Task Force for Global Health, by the Carter Center, by others who are not blinded because of river blindness. And this happens because of a program that many of you are involved in and don't even know it. It's distributing Mectizan to people that keeps them from being blinded from onchocerciasis, and Mectizan is what you give your dogs under the label HeartGuard. And it's that profit from HeartGuard that has allowed Merck to give 800 million treatments free for the use of humans. And so I like to say the dogs of America are underwriting this program. The history includes running children not even knowing that science and activism saved them from having polio. Millions nourished without knowing that they owe a debt to Norman Borlaug. Children attending school in Africa without understanding their debt to the Carter Center and guinea worm eradication. People prospering in Atlanta without knowing the role of Ivan Ellen. All of us enjoying a reduced risk of biological and nuclear terrorism because of Senator Nunn. And all of us the beneficiaries of families and teachers who molded us. The longer arc of history, however, has seen us still struggling to explain how people could have justified slavery. Methodists, Presbyterians, Baptists divided over this issue. And slowly brave people, such as Ivan Ellen, confronted the issue and society changed. Likewise, we saw a confusing debate on whether women are as good as men. And when my mother was born in this country, women could not vote. And finally, this country said all men and all women are created equal, and women could vote. And this year, we were pleased to hear that the British royal family finally declared that women are as good as men. Institutions of higher learning have reached that conclusion, and I saw it every place in the last 2 days. And we wait impatiently for corporations and churches to acknowledge that same truth. What hasn't changed? Our approach to the single biggest determinant of poor health in the world, poverty. The rhetoric is very old. Maoism in old China already talks about, I'll quote, the danger of the strong preying on the weak and the rich insulting the poor. Wang Xi, some hundreds of years ago, said poverty is an emergency and should be approached as if you were approaching a drowning person. There is no time to lose. But we try to ignore poverty because every person in this room, including myself, benefits from poverty. We get our clothes cheaper, our food cheaper, our hotel rooms cheaper because people who are poor are subsidizing our way of life. My way of life is on the back of poor people, and we need the courage to change that. Lincoln Stephan, about the time I was born, wrote, "The greatest song has not been sung, the greatest poem has not been written." And I add, the most compassionate society is still in our future. Poverty has to change. In closing, I'd like to give some advice to students. I tell students to love science, absolutely love science, but don't worship it. There's something better than science, and that's science in the service of humanity, science in the service of equity, and science distributed with compassion. Kierkegaard, the Danish theologian and philosopher, once told a story of a break-in into a jewelry store. Nothing was stolen. The person that broke in, however, changed all the price tags. And we live in that kind of world where the price tags have all been changed and we're trying to figure out what they really should be. So we live in a world where we pay a premium to Wall Street bankers and to athletes while challenging the financial ingenuity of mental health workers, hospice workers, public health workers, and teachers. Don't get blinded by the price tags. If you want real power, think beyond yourself, your nation, or even your time in the world. Think of using your power to change the future. As Jonas Salk said, evolution will be exactly what we want it to be. That's both scary and hopeful. Years ago, Jim Laney asked me to address the Emory board at their retreat. And I ended by saying, we will make mistakes as we, in the phrase of Saul Bellow, walk knee-deep through the garbage of life. But we need to heed the price tags to get them right. Kipling got them wrong. And in his poem, you can see how wrong his price tags were. And the talk slid north, and the talk slid south, with the sliding puffs from the hook of mouth. 4 things greater than all things are: women and horses and power and war. Well, the night before that talk to the Emory board, I reviewed that poem, and with students in mind, I rewrote it. I asked, how do I wish Kipling had written this for students? And I wrote it to say, and the talk slid east, and the talk slid west. And a student asked, what life is best? 4 things treasure, all else above: purpose and faith and wisdom and love. Thank you very much.